Liz Truss will become Britain's next Prime Minister after winning a leadership race for the governing Conservative Party on Monday, September 5th, vowing to press ahead with promised tax cuts and action to tackle a deepening energy and cost of living crisis. After weeks of an often bad-tempered and divisive leadership contest, Truss, currently the foreign minister and the favorite to win, beat former finance minister Rishi Sunak in a vote of Conservative Party members, winning by 81,326 votes to 60,399. "I will deliver a bold plan to cut taxes and grow our economy," Truss said after the result was announced. "I will deliver on the energy crisis, dealing with people's energy bills, but also dealing with the long-term issues we have on energy supply." Truss takes over as the country faces a crunch on household finances, industrial unrest, a recession and war in Europe, where Britain has been a leading backer of Ukraine. She appeared to rule out another national election before 2024, when she promised to deliver a great victory for her party. Welcome to Savvy Economists. Britain elected a new Prime Minister, Liz Truss, and things are looking hopeful for the country as she promises tax cuts and actions to tackle the now rampant cost of living crisis. Let's get into the details. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Truss will succeed Boris Johnson, who was forced to announce his resignation in July after months of scandals saw support for his administration drain away and ministers quit to force him out. "I know she has the right plan to tackle the cost of living crisis, unite our party, and continue the great work of uniting and leveling up our country," Johnson said on Twitter. "Now is the time for all Conservatives to get behind her 100%. Long the frontrunner to replace him, Truss will become the Conservatives' fourth Prime Minister since the 2015 election. Since then, Britain has stumbled from crisis to crisis, and now is seen facing a long recession and inflation that hit double digits in July. Within minutes of her victory, business leaders from the hospitality sector to manufacturing and chemical industries demanded help with the soaring cost of energy and tight labor markets to stop firms going bust. Truss, 47, has promised to act quickly, saying within a week she will come up with a plan to tackle rising energy bills and secure future fuel supplies. She signaled during her leadership campaign she would challenge convention by scrapping tax increases and cutting other levies in a move some economists say would further fuel inflation. That, and a pledge to review the remit of the Bank of England while protecting its independence, has prompted some investors to dump the pound and government bonds. Britain's incoming Prime Minister Liz Truss is considering a freeze on household energy bills to try to avert a winter cost of living crisis for millions of households, a source said. Public borrowing would be used to fund the gap between current prices and an 80% rise in the amount suppliers can charge customers from October under the plan prepared by government officials, the source told Reuters. The cost of the move, which will last until at least January, could eclipse the £70 billion, $80 billion bill for the COVID-19 furlough scheme, but the government had decided it needed to act, the source familiar with the situation said. The cost is likely to be recovered by a levy on bills payable over 10 to 15 years, said the source, who declined to be named because the plans are still under consideration. Truss had earlier in the campaign said she favored tax cuts over providing direct support to households facing unprecedented rises in energy bills. Commercial banks are not involved in the household scheme, the first source said, but could be involved in a separate plan to support businesses. The household relief plan is likely to be announced on Thursday to allow time to put it into action before October. A government spokesperson said officials were preparing to introduce any new measures as quickly as possible, and they would add to the £400 discount on energy bills that has already been announced. Europe's energy price crisis worsened after Russia's Gazprom on Friday said flows through its major Nord Stream pipeline to Germany would remain shut indefinitely. Although Britain only receives around 4% of its gas from Russia, the squeeze in supply means less could be available from other suppliers such as Norway. Wholesale British gas prices, which helped to determine regulator Ofgem's price cap level, mirrored huge gains in Europe's gas market on Monday morning, with the day-ahead contract up 133%. Other challenges which the new UK PM inherited from the past government includes the NHS crisis, which has been a problem for quite some time now. NHS performance has been deteriorating for the best part of a decade, but the pandemic has exacerbated its problems even further. Record numbers are on hospital waiting lists. Nearly 1 in 8 people are currently waiting for treatment. Meanwhile, emergency services are warning patients are being harmed because of delays responding to 999 calls and long waits in A&E. There is the threat of industrial action, with unions unhappy with pay. And all this is happening ahead of winter, with the prospect of flu and COVID circulating at high levels for the first time. Part of the problem hospitals are facing is the inability to discharge patients when they are medically fit to leave because of a lack of social care places. The government does have a plan for social care's the care cap, but that is about protecting people's assets rather than providing more funding for services. Even then, there has been debate about whether the government is right to increase national insurance to pay for it, in part because of rising inflation. Boris Johnson offered Ukraine early political and military support. The new prime minister is expected to maintain that approach and is likely to be willing to provide Ukraine with more weapons as the conflict progresses. But as time goes by, the new prime minister may face a growing challenge of convincing doubters at home and abroad that the economic price of supporting Ukraine is worth it. With rising energy costs exacerbating the cost of living crisis, the PM will have to persuade voters that their financial discomfort is needed to defend Ukraine. There will also be a big job of diplomacy to protect the pro-Ukraine alliance across Europe. There may well be countries that want to seek an accommodation with Russia and end the fighting to help secure their energy supplies. The next PM will quickly face a conundrum over the Northern Ireland Protocol. Talks with the EU all but ground to a halt after the government introduced a bill to give UK ministers powers to override parts of the post-Brexit trading arrangements. The Democratic Unionist Party declared it won't form a power-sharing government at Stormont until the protocol is changed, arguing it damages Northern Ireland's position within the UK. The key date is October 28th, the deadline for restoring government at Stormont. After that date, the government will either have to call a fresh assembly election, draw up legislation for a new deadline, or begin taking more decisions for Northern Ireland from Westminster. The PM will also have to bear in mind that most Northern Irish politicians want the protocol to remain and won't shy from laying blame at the door of Downing Street. In the midst of a gas price crisis, the new Prime Minister will very rapidly have to make decisions on energy that could set us on course to make, or break, the UK's commitment to reach net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. Will they prioritize the push for more renewables against the demands from some that they look again at the fossil fuels that already warm our planet? Should new oil and gas projects be greenlight in the North Sea? Will the new leader give any encouragement to the UK fracking industry? As part of the net zero strategy, the government has committed to decarbonize the generation of electricity by 2035. For that to happen, there will need to be a massive expansion in renewable energy. Offshore wind is already a British success story, but the fastest renewable projects from conception to completion are on land, solar, and onshore wind. Both are currently stymied by the planning process. Could that be simplified to speed up the transition to renewables? Early indications are that the answer will be no. So many challenges are laid out for the new PM as she moves into office. Eyes are on her to see how much she can do to curb the already exacerbated situation. Britons are hopeful that there may be some change, although it may seem like nothing would change for the time being. We would keep you updated as everything unfolds. What are your sincere thoughts about the new PM? Would anything really change for Britain? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on your notifications.